It is time for the Drew Yari Show. Drew Yari.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the show. It's Wednesday, and you already know who I am. I'm Drew. Unfortunately, Justin isn't here tonight. Justin had to call in at the last minute. Something came up. No biggie. I hope all is well with Justin, wherever you are, if you're listening. But yeah, it's for in the meantime, it's gonna be me. You're gonna have to deal with me coughing. I'll try to mute as much as possible. But Ruben Prime said he will be on in a little bit, so I won't be alone. I messaged RJ. Hopefully he got the message. He's more than likely asleep. But what's going on, peeps? Kyle, as usual. Joker Santana. Dwight 316. What's going on, people? Looks like I have two new people in the chat, so welcome. Usually it's me and Justin, but like I mentioned, Justin is had to do a last second call in. So no biggie. We got this. We got this like we usually do. So let's kind of get shit started. We were off for a week last week, but we're back, and we're gonna do things like we usually do. We're gonna talk wrestling. We're gonna talk about the wrestling shows. So last Friday night on SmackDown, which was May the 31st. We're already in June, by the way, which is insane to think about. We're already in the middle of the year, so you got about 6 more months to go. But let's kind of get shit started. So last Friday night on SmackDown, that was the SmackDown that I guess was after King going in the ring. I think I missed maybe the first half of it. So it was Ciampa versus Theory, and Ciampa defeated Theory. They did a bit where Nick Aldis presents the King and Queen of the Ring, or no, the Queen of the Ring crown to Nia, who just won it on Saturday. And, you know, it fit pretty good on her head. So that's pretty much what happened. AJ Styles, you know, teasing that he had a big announcement for later. People, I guess, kind of speculating as to what that is. Sorry, I had to cough again. Jesus, I took some meds. But he looked emotional, and I mean, only time will tell what that announcement was. But we did find out later in the show. But we'll get to it. Andrade versus Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews getting some television time, so it's good to see some people getting their time to shine. That usually don't get a lot of time to shine. That's kind of the That's kind of what I like about this Triple H era of things is, you know, he tries to give everyone as much time as possible. Let's see what they can do. They're on this roster. Let's make some use of them. Apollo Crews been on the roster or been in WWE in general for almost a decade. I mean, he came in 2015 in NXT, and that's a guy that, you know, you saw and you're like, I mean, not a main eventer of WrestleMania, but that's a guy you can like easily be like a Intercontinental Champion, U.S. Champion, you know, get some good use out of. I mean, he could maybe be your Black Rob Van Dam. And granted, he has gone on to be a U.S. Champion and a Intercontinental Champion. Hey, Maurice. But it's kind of just been very lackluster. Granted, he came in during the old regime. So, I mean, maybe we can, maybe there's some use for Apollo Crews in this new regime. Maurice, if you're coming in, it's just me tonight. So, Ruben should be in it a little bit. But Andrade defeated Apollo Crews. Andrade, just ever since he's come in, hasn't really done much. He hasn't really been much of anything on the main roster, or I shouldn't say main roster because he's always been on the main roster, but like he hasn't really been used as well as we assumed he was going to be used. I'm not saying like main eventer, maybe like a mid-level whatever feud with Cody or Drew or whoever. But they just brought him back. It feels like they just brought him back just so they can say, "Hey, we got him back from AEW." But I don't know. Oh, here's Ruben. Let's get him in. Hey, man.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hey, so Justin had to call in at the last second, or at the last minute, right when we were starting. Yeah, so that's why I messaged you, see if you can jump on for a little bit.
Sure.
But yeah, at the moment I was just kind of reviewing shows. Did you at all watch SmackDown last week?
Didn't catch. I didn't sit down and watch it on full because I was out. I did see the highlights. Right.
I missed maybe the first 30, 45 minutes of it, so I'm just kind of going by some notes. What were your... Let me ask you something. So, Andrade, he's been back in WWE since the Rumble earlier this year. What do you think about his booking ever since he's been back?
Yeah, that's something I've been hearing on the old X Machine. And there's this narrative that WWE is fumbling Andrade again. And people got to understand is that even when he was being used, they were complaining that, they're putting him with the other, Latinos, the other Mexican wrestlers and all that. And it's like, you can't win. You really can't win when you're being utilized. People complain, then when they're not being used, they complain some more. And it's like, well, at least he was being used. And yeah, the LWO, I'm done with the LWO, but at least he was doing something. But can he be put in something meaningful? Yeah, but it's just they just have to find something for him to do, just slot him in. But maybe just right now is not in the cards, and it wouldn't make sense just for him to be thrown into something, because then people will complain about that. So it's just a lose-lose. You try to do something and you end up, pissing one group or one side off. So I think that possibly they're just waiting for him, waiting to put Andrade, them being, Triple H and creative, they're just waiting for the right time to put Andrade into something, just slot him in. So, who knows? I don't know, maybe I will put him back in NXT. Right. That's what I would do. But, again, that's wishful thinking. We're not, creative. We're not, in the heads of a Triple H and co, so we don't know. But, yeah, I guess it's just, there's some gripe with Andrade not being utilized, but I just think that partially it's just people trying to stir up some stuff.
Yeah. Sorry, I was eating. I think with Andrade, I just think he's just happy to be with his wife and just away from AEW. I was kind of looking at it as he's one of, I don't want to say many because it's kind of a small group of people coming from AEW to WWE, even though he was in WWE before, but it's one of those things of hey, we got him back from AEW. It's not aside from Jade, Brian Pillman Jr., and Ethan Page, which we'll talk about in a bit, those three were the actual AEW guys that didn't go to WWE, that came to WWE. And, I look at it as people like Ethan Page, people like, Brian Pillman Jr. are seeing how well Jade has been booked. They're saying how well Cody's been booked. And then I mean, we can exclude Punk because that's Punk, but like they have to see the writing on the wall. And people like Ricky Starks, people like Wardlow, they're already gone. Like Ricky Starks is including him. Like he's all but gone. He already has the car running. He's getting ready to get the fuck out of there. Wardlow, if he has any common sense, he should probably do the same. Thunder Rosa is probably another name. But yeah, I mean, Andrade, again, I just think Andrade is just happy to be back. But I also think maybe creative booking can play a part in his frustration. I mean, who's to say he isn't frustrated?
Right.
Yeah, like I do like Andrade. I'm glad he's back, but it's one of those things of like, give him something interesting to do. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Don't just like saddle him with the LWO or Phantasma and just be like, hey, we're gonna put you with these guys. Why?
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, you want him to be put in something meaningful that will showcase, obviously his ability in the ring, but also like he has charisma. Like he's like he has some charisma. Like he has like, he carries himself like a superstar. So there's that, and he has that look. But if he was just slotted in and just whatever, just low effort, storyline, people would complain. So I think that, like, yes, there's legitimacy to, to the complaints, but I think that if he was just to be slotted in something that's just void of any meaning, people will be just as upset. So I think people just need to chill, because there's definitely a lot of storylines going on. And, when it's this time, Triple H will give him the call and be like, hey, we got something for you. But for the time being, he's just happy to be in WWE with his wife. So, and, just in a better environment. And I think they'll do right by Andrade, this time around, because it's Triple H, in charge of things, not Vince. So he won't be, forgotten. But we just gotta wait and see. We just gotta wait and see next, few months.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah, the Triple H regime of things. I was just saying, like, Andrade wrestled Apollo Crews on Friday, and like, when's the last time we've seen Apollo Crews in anything? And I don't mean that as like a slight against the guy. I like Apollo. It's just. Yep. The guy's been with the company for almost a decade. And,
yeah.
I mean, that's where you look at his accomplishments in the company. He's a United States champion. He's an Intercontinental champion. He had a WrestleMania match. But it's like, it feels like it just didn't really happen. Like it just came and went. So,
yeah.
I mean, that's what I do like about this Triple H era of things is like, guys and girls that, don't get a lot of TV time. Like he does, give everyone a shot. He's like, okay, let's see what you can do. Like, you're here for a reason. Let's see what we can get out of you. So it's good that you see the Apollo Cruises and like Tegan Knox, for example, or Zoe Stark, get that television time, and not just a Vince thing of like, oh, you can't give us something in 2 minutes. You're gone. Get out of here. It's like, okay. So, but the rest of SmackDown, it was very much like kind of a one act show. Preferably talking about AJ Styles, who was, for the past, few weeks, ever since, he lost to Cody at Backlash, he had been teasing, what am I going to do next? I have a big announcement, what's next for me if I can't get a title shot. And for the whole night on SmackDown, he had been teasing retirement. Comes out in a nice suit, tells everybody, my kids just graduated high school, blah, 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 gives a big sappy speech, and then, asks, says, I'm going to be a phenomenal father, asks Cody Rhodes to come out, tells Cody, I'm here for you, we had a great match. I have a lot of respect for you, blah, blah, blah. Cody getting emotional, like usual. And then does the too sweet, hugs him, and then clotheslines him and beats the shit out of Cody, a la Mark Henry from 2014, so 10 years ago, actually.
Yep.
Missing all that was missing was the salmon suit.
Yeah.
From AJ, but he had a blue suit, so I guess I can forgive him for that. But yeah, it was very, very predictable, this segment. I mean, it wasn't bad. It paid off nicely, but it's just like you knew it was going to happen. You kind of figured it was going to happen. Cody is just I love Cody, but Cody's way too trusting at this point. But this sets up a rematch with Cody and AJ. The first match, if you look at it as a wrestling match, it was probably the best wrestling match of the year. But outside of that, it wasn't a match that Cody needed. The match that he had with Logan, I think, was the match he actually needed. He needed a heel. And Logan, for the time being on SmackDown, is the ultimate heel that Cody needs. In this upcoming match, whenever it does happen, AJ really needs to be the kind of heel that Cody needs. Cody needs to be the underdog, fighting from underneath. But what do you think? What do you think about everything that's going on with this?
I enjoy it, and yes, it was predictable, but just because something is predictable doesn't always mean that it's bad. And interesting, people were complaining about this, like AJ getting another shot, and meanwhile, after an amazing match that Styles had with Cody, they were complaining. People were complaining, is this going to be a one-off? And now that we're getting match number 2, it's like people are complaining. And it's, of course, the small segment of Twitter, just the people on X. But one thing I say is that, to quote Mark Henry, AJ has plenty, left in the tank. It ain't going to be that easy just to retire, AJ. So, the segment was good. I enjoyed it. Like, as soon as I was done watching that segment, I went and searched for the Mark Henry segment, and that was done really well. So definitely a lot of, nods to, to the originator of the fake retirement. And now we got 2 colors, the 2 different suit colors we got to watch out for. The pink salmon jacket, and then the powder blue. So got to watch out for that powder blue. If you see someone wearing a powder blue suit, the suit jacket, they're up to something. Definitely up to something. And yeah, this match is going to be dope. And it's something for, Cody to do. The match is going to be, a banger, of course. And, gives something Cody to do. It gives him something to do. Gives another challenger, and this has, story, has a purpose for happening. And, we'll see. We'll see how it plays out leading up to Clash at the Castle,
Right. And Mark Henry, coincidentally, since he's brought up in this, and this segment was obviously inspired by him, he had brought up why he didn't beat Cena at Money in the Bank that year, and allegedly Vince wanted him to win. Like, he told Mark, I want you to win, but Mark was like, I can't, because I can't work the kind of schedule that Cena works. My legs aren't, what they used to be. So, they wanted, Vince wanted to give it to Mark, but Mark was like, I can't work the way Cena can. So, yeah,
it was a pro move, just forward thinking by Mark Henry, because anyone else would have been like, hell yeah, say shit, sign me up. But Mark knows his own body, and the level that Cena was performing, wrestling, like he knew Mark, Mark knew he couldn't keep up. So that was, forward thinking. And yeah, it would have been cool seeing Mark be WWE champion. Like it would have been dope. Like he, that would have been a sight to see, but wasn't meant to be, unfortunately. But just to know that Vince wanted him, to go over is pretty, it's something. It's really something.
Yeah, the ultimate professional, Mark Henry. And he's a free agent. He just appeared at MLW last week, I believe.
Yeah, I saw that clip. They had like their pay-per-view, like one of their pay-per-views, and it looked pretty good. Dario Cueto is he's like the authority figure on the show, and it's like, damn, I miss Lucha Underground. Like that segment that he was in that MLW pay-per-view, it gave me those vibes. And I'm gonna try my best to go back and consume some of the content. There's just a lot of wrestling, but a lot of wrestling. But yeah, I saw the Mark Henry segment on the MLW pay-per-view. Pretty nice seeing him, on there. So, I'm looking forward to what Mark Henry will do as well.
All right, so that was SmackDown. Decent show. So now we're going to move on to Raw. A lot going on Raw, preferably with Liv Morgan and the Judgment Day. And by Judgment Day, primarily just Dom, who just somehow has a gaggle of hot women that are all over him, which was funny because, he's in the back with Judgment Day, and, JD and Finn are like, what the fuck? And Dom's just like, I can't help it. Women want me. I can't do anything about it. And Finn's like, that's right. You didn't do anything about it. So the show opens with, I guess, what happened last week, where at the end of the Liv and Becky match, Liv goes up to Dom and kisses him, which it didn't end that way because USA, for whatever reason, just doesn't want to give Raw 2 extra minutes, which is just like, come on, it's fucking Raw. It's your high-strung show, but whatever. The show opens with Liv telling Dom, I told Rhea I'm going to take everything away from her. I'm going to take everything that she loves, and that includes you. And she just corners Dom, at the corner of the ring post, gets right in his face, and then Finn just jumps in and right between them and just tells Liv, hey, stop that.
Yeah, she was rubbing up on Dominic very, very seductively. And one thing I'll say about Dominic, he's a scumbag, but he has some willpower. He definitely has that level of willpower, because most men will probably fold in front of Liv Morgan, and that is a fact. A lot of y'all will say, nah, I won't fold. Y'all will fold. 1,000%. Y'all will fold. So good on Dominic. It ain't easy. As they say, pimping ain't easy, but he makes it. He figured out a way. But yeah, this is interesting. This story is interesting. But yeah, go ahead, continue.
Yeah, that's how the segment basically ended, and then Finn kind of giving a talking to with Dom in the back, and Damien coming in and doing his usual shtick, telling off the Judgment Day, and just more seeds planted for a dissension in the Judgment Day, which, from the way it looks, more than likely will end with Damien becoming a face and disbanding from the Judgment Day. Also, WWE doing a great job, doing these little Easter eggs where, throughout the night when, there's someone walking in the back or someone doing an interview, you see Liv talking to other members of the Judgment Day, Finn and JD. Yep. So possibly teasing, more than likely Damien and Rhea forming their own group, doing their own thing, and Liv taking the Judgment Day, like she said, to Rhea, away from Rhea and Damien. Which is kind of fun, which is kind of funny because when the Judgment Day was formed, 2 years ago, Liv formed I guess kind of her own group with Finn and AJ.
Yep.
To battle the Judgment Day. So, it's a big turnaround.
Full circle.
Full circle. 2 years of storytelling, I guess. Next is in the first match of the night, you had Sheamus versus Ludwig Kaiser. They're doing a good job with Ludwig. I like what they're doing with Ludwig. After Sheamus's match with Gunther and the King and the King of the King of the Ring match, Ludwig, talking his shit, telling Sheamus, he's lucky, that he's not here because I'd beat his ass and blah, blah, blah. And, Sheamus came, back and called out Ludwig. Ludwig was in the back, saying, pretty much if you want me, come find me. And then, attacked Sheamus from behind last week. And this week they have their match. Good match, good showing for Ludwig. Showcasing his talent. Because that was kind of always my thing with Imperium, is that when I didn't care that Walter wasn't. I mean, when Jesus Christ, when Gunther wasn't there, I just didn't care. I didn't care about Imperium. I didn't care about Ludwig or Vinci, because that was always my thing of like, Gunther's a bad motherfucker, but the way they should have really pushed those guys is Gunther could be like, you think I'm bad? Wait till you see my friends. They do things I don't even want to do. They do things I find personally heinous.
Repulsive.
Yeah, repulsive. I've seen some things back home in Austria, but the things these two gentlemen do, it makes me shudder to think about it. Like, you could have done something like that with them, but they just made them flunkies.
Yeah, I didn't like that about Imperium, how they were booked, always losing and all that. And those guys are good. Kaiser and Vinci, those guys are good. But just the fact that they were just the flunkies, the grunts, it really hurt them. But this match with Sheamus really helped. And also him being vicious against the New Day. Right. That was really cool. That was some good stuff. That was like, yo, this SOB, just taking heads off. And you want to see that. You want to see, that edge. And, Kaiser has that. And I hope that he's booked that way. Continue to be booked that way, because you need that. You gotta have more layers, to your character. Like, yeah, we know he's a good wrestler, but you gotta have that edge that can have him stand out. And that's the edge. Just, trash talking, just taking heads off like he did with Kofi and, Xavier, all that. Like that's what we need from Kaiser. But yeah, just good match, good overall. Like, Sheamus still doing his thing. All the fat jokes. He's taking it in stride. Like he has thicker skin than a lot of wrestlers. A lot of the certain wrestlers that I will not name.
Come on, we're not gonna pick on those wrestlers here tonight, Chris Jericho. We're not going to talk about them. This is an AEW free show tonight.
Yeah.
Justin's not here to give his AEW report, so we're just going to steer clear of AEW. I will say, though, I did watch MJF's promo to open the show, and it's good seeing MJF back. I do like MJF. He breathed some much-needed life into the show. And then Roosh came out for no reason, and I just went, meh.
Sounds about right. Even though he called out MJF last week, but it's like, just like I see what they were trying to do, but it just wasn't there. It wasn't like, I don't know. And Roosh, he's another one that's pretty good, but it's just they just have him like, I guess, on Rampage, on Collision. He had that, the that faction, that Los Gobernables faction, and it's just like what he's been doing after that. It's like, yo, he's so talented, but just like you said, not a full AEW show, So, yep. But yeah, go ahead, continue.
But yeah, that's all the AEW you're getting tonight, people. But yeah, as far as Raw goes, Ludwig, like we just mentioned, or like Ruben just mentioned, Ludwig beat Sheamus. A lot of the match was Ludwig going after Sheamus's knee. So good storytelling. And Sheamus tries to go for white noise off the top of the rope, but can't. Or no, actually, Ludwig counters it from what it looks like into a sunset, not a sunset dive, powerbomb. Sunset powerbomb, or whatever you want to call it. And then goes after the knee again, and then pins Sheamus. Not a roll-up. Doesn't grab the ropes or tights, but beats Sheamus clean as a sheet. Because Sheamus essentially was working on one leg. So, big win for Ludwig. Ludwig. Keep calling him Ludwig. Ludwig. Big win for Ludwig. Dating Tiffany Stratton. And now he's getting a push. So he's winning in both arenas. He's winning.
He's winning, yeah.
Like Charlie Sheen, winning. All right, so what's next? The rest of the show, Dragon Lee versus Finn Balor. Finn Balor won, as expected. Then what else happened? Oh, yeah, so let's talk about Braun Breaker. Oh, no, let's talk about a segment, and then Braun Breaker. So, Alpha Academy. With Chad Gable. Chad Gable basically dressing down everybody. And, no, here's what happened. So Chad Gable actually sent Alpha Academy to the ring to talk to Sami Zayn. And the whole time Maxine Dupree is reading off I guess, note cards that Chad Gable gave her, which is basically insulting everybody. Insulting Otis, saying, that's why you lost your Money in the Bank briefcase, and telling Maxine Dupree, that she's an idiot. And then talking about Tozawa, blah, blah, blah. And then, Sami Zayn telling them basically all three of you are too good for him. Like, you shouldn't take this abuse. And then Chad Gable comes from behind and beats up Sami. And then Tozawa tries to stop Chad Gable. And then Chad beats him up. And then Otis gets right in Chad's face, and Otis gets, a huge pop. He gets the biggest pop of the night. And, Chad is kind of scared shitless. He's like, oh shit, I wasn't prepared for this. And then Sami attacks him. While that's happening, Otis is trying to get, the other two out of the ring. And then Chad throws Sami into the back of Otis, knocks down Tozawa, knocks down Maxine, and she hurts her ankle. Chad saying, it wasn't me, it was Sami, attack Sami. And Sami's like, no, it was him. And then Otis power slams Sami. And then Chad, kisses him on the cheek saying, I knew he had it in you. I knew he had it in you. And then they get to the back, and, Chad is happy. He's telling, the other two students, Maxine, Tozawa is like, you guys are playing possum. You're acting. You guys deserve an Oscar. And then he turns to Otis, and you. And then kisses him on the cheek. I knew you had it in you the whole time. That's why you're my favorite student. So basically the story being that Otis is torn, like, because he wants to impress, Master Gable. But at the same time, he has a conscience, he has a soul, and he doesn't like that Chad is, verbally abusing, maybe physically abusing, the rest of the team, including him. So, pretty soon, we're gonna get that big moment of Otis, is not gonna take any more of this abuse, and he's gonna beat the shit out of Chad. And they've been teasing that the Creeds are gonna be the new members of the Alpha Academy, which good, because they need something right now.
Yeah.
But what were your thoughts on that segment? What are your thoughts on the storyline in general?
It's really good. Like finally Chad Gable's getting, being used to his full potential. And just the fact that he plays a really good heel, just, smarmy and just despicable. I think that's playing to his strengths. And the story is going to help get Otis over. Like, he's already over, but it's going to help him be in that sympathetic role in his base, to counteract Gable as a heel. And that's just going to bring more heat to Chad. And, you had Tozawa and Maxine there as, the catalyst for, that eventual, turning when, Otis does turn on Chad. Like that's going to be amazing. And that promo, like all his promos, like all his segments on Raw have been like so good. And that's like one of the segments I'm always looking forward to, because it's just, you just want to boo that man, but it's just so brilliant. He's just dressing Alpha Academy down, and just being smart. I mean, it's like, hey, I knew you were playing possum. Like, yeah, like you're really into your character. It's like things like that, man. Like, we know Gable's a good wrestler. Like, we know this, but just the fact that he has good character work as well, it's what's carrying the story over. He's really like, digging into that smarmy heel, that dastardly heel. And, I can't wait for when he wins the IC title. There's just no way, like, him, he's going to resign. And It's just a shame. Yeah, it's just a shame that they saddle him with so much garbage, creatively, back with the old administration.
Shorty G. Oof.
Yeah, we was around during those times. We were watching, unfortunately, and that was terrible. But, while, like, he's there now, he's getting the spotlight on him. So hopefully he'll get, a singles title run with the IC belt. I can't wait for it when it happens. I think it happens at Clash. I definitely think it's happening at Clash, because
I hope so. Yeah.
There's no way that, he's not, there's no way if he were to resign, in which he is, there's no way that he's just going to lose. No way. Like, because then why have a third match? If okay, we have a third match. Yeah, just, I really do think that he's going to come out on top. And then once Gable wins the belt, that's when you're going to start to turn, Otis. Because you can't just do it now. You got to have Gable win the belt. Then slowly, then Gable just goes crazy and just mad with power. And slowly he'll start, to turn. And then at the right moment, turns on Gable. And then you bring in the Creed brothers. That's when you introduce the Creed brothers. So it's like, you gotta space things out. But yeah, just overall great segment. One of the highlights of the night. And I just can't wait for, Chad Gable to win the IC belt.
I mean, I agree. And the pay-per-views next week. It'd be kind of cool. It'd be kind of funny and cool at the same time. Like, you pair the Creed brothers and you change their name from the Creed brothers to Team Gable.
Yeah.
A la Team Angle with Benjamin and Haas. That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be dope. Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna move on to that, to Braun Breaker versus Ricochet. I'm loving. I mean, speaking of someone else, I'm loving. Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker got drafted to Raw. Was in the King of the Ring tournament, and they played into that Braun was frustrated. He was frustrated creatively because, I should be in the King of the Ring tournament. Last week, I believe, no, week prior, was when he had that. To me, it was one of my favorite squash matches I've ever seen. Aside from, Brock just assaulting John Cena from SummerSlam 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Of him just just killing this guy, and like in the ring, like he's in the corner talking to himself, saying, I wasn't in King of the Ring, now I'm having this match with this guy, and then it just spears him like constantly and just murders him basically.
Yeah.
And last week he just makes like a dart all the way to the, like there was that video of them just like running all the way to the ring just so you can spear the shit out of Ricochet and Ilya, which I thought was amazing. Like the future of wrestling is Braun Breaker. I'm just gonna say right now, like that guy is gonna be a main eventer at WrestleMania. More than likely not next year, but I can see maybe the year after.
Definitely.
But he has a match with Ricochet. Ricochet selling the fact that he hurt ribs. Before the match, Ilya was trying to talk him out of it, but Ricochet is like, I got this. I can handle it. They go in there and have a pretty good match. I like the fact that Braun was getting Samantha Irvin involved in it, saying, pretty much, is this your man? I got your man, blah, blah, blah. And Samantha just, making that face at him like, fuck you. So I thought that was pretty cool that she kind of got involved a little bit. It would have been nice if, like, Braun is just... I would have liked more of that. Like, Braun just, like, anytime he would attack Ricochet, he would just kind of yell at Samantha. He's like, I got your man right here. You sure this is your man? Tapping into Uncle Scotty's, Scottyisms of, like, that's what you get with the real man. I'll make you howl at the moon, freak. I would have popped if he did that. I would have been like, okay, I love Braun. Like, I don't think I'm ever gonna not like Braun, but that's just me. And of course, Braun getting the win with a spear. Afterwards, not finished. He's beating the shit out of Ricochet. Even picks up some steel steps before Hurricane Helms and the rest of the agents and referees come out to stop him. And then Ilya just comes out of nowhere and clotheslines him into the crowd. So we got a free match of Ilya and Braun on Monday. I would have liked that on a pay-per-view, maybe not on a Monday Night Raw. But I don't know, maybe this is leading to something. Hopefully, because this seems like too good of a match to be just a one-off. But what are your thoughts on Braun Breaker and how he's being used?
It's dope. One thing I'll say is Braun Breaker's been used like really well, and he's tapped into that vicious side, like just building up all that resentment, all that anger, all that tension for not being utilized. And you want, like, he put over the King of the Ring in a way that most people, should. Like, you want to be in the King of the Ring. Like, you want to be in that tournament. That should be like one of the things that superstars strive to be in. Just like the Rumble, they want to be at Mania, and he put that over and just going on a tear and just destroying everyone. That put over the King of the Ring. And that's like one thing I'm happy for with what they did with Braun. Him putting over the King of the Ring, how important it was. And then just, squashing, that jobber a few weeks back and just destroying him. And then after that, telling Pierce that, yo, this is on you. You didn't put me in the King of the Ring. You wasn't using me. You drafted me here for what? So now I'm going to take it out on all these, sad little motherfuckers on here until you start giving me real opponents. and then, him, like, dude's, just a chip off the old block, just genetic freak, just a crazy, amazing athlete. And the fact that he ran like from the crowd, jumped over the barricade into the ring and speared all in one go. Like, it wasn't no start stop. It just he flowed into that spear on Ricochet during Ricochet and Ilya's match. And then, he's just been booked well. He's been booked like a beast, and that's what we need. We need more of that intensity. We need more of that, like, yo, put me, like, use me, or else I'm gonna, destroy this roster. And I'm glad he's being used. I'm glad that he's being utilized. And the match with Ilya is like, damn, like that should have been like on a pay-per-view, but we're getting on free TV, so I know it's gonna be good.
Unless it's like a big schmoz where like no one really wins, they just beat the shit out of each other, and like it becomes like a no contest or something.
Yeah, because they are wrestling. Are they? They haven't announced the match for Clash of the Castle yet.
No,
triple threat. Yeah, so that's going to be a build up for that triple threat, because there's no way they could just give away that match on TV. So they gotta have the match, but no decisive winner, and then they have that triple threat match. So I think that's what's going to happen next week. And then, unfortunately, we know Ricochet's going to eat the pin, but he's good. Like, listen, you're traveling, you're in WWE. He's being featured a lot more than he was, years ago. He's the WWE Speed Champion, on X, and he's with Samantha Irvin. Like, he's winning. He's winning. So and he's another one that's going to be a potential free agent too, but he's going to stay in WWE. There's no way. Like, he goes to AEW, he's going to be used maybe like once or twice, and then after that, he's just going to be in ROH.
Right.
Like, he's going to be in ROH just like everyone else that were big game changers. Oh my God. And just no, stay in WWE. Triple H loves you. You got Samantha. There's no way you're going to separate that. No way.
No.
It's just, foolishness.
Yeah, I think I have a list of free agents. We'll talk about that in a bit. But, just obviously, I think Ricochet's staying. I think Samantha Irving being here is going to play a part. Kind of like Becky, Seth being here is going to play a part. And forgot someone else just mentioned. Oh yeah, Chad. They're gonna give Chad what he wants, and they're gonna give him the contract he wants, and he's gonna be Intercontinental Champion. I can guarantee it. Not only him resigning, because I think they already announced a thing yesterday that they're already resigning a bunch of people. I don't know if I saw Ricochet's name on there, but it wouldn't really shock me if Ricochet left. But it's one of those things of like his wife's here, or I don't know if they're married or she's just his fiance, but yeah, she's here, and I think it's going to play a big part in him staying. And I think they like Ricochet. I can tell that they do like Ricochet. I mean, it's not like he's, and I hate to pick on the guy, but it's not like he's like an Apollo Crews where it's like you see him maybe once every 6 months. Yeah. With Ricochet, he gets used very prominently on the show, and he's the WWE Speed Champion. I mean, if you want to think that's silly, he obviously likes it. He's the inaugural Speed Champion. So, and people like Ricochet. He's the guy you send out there to open a house show or to get the crowd riled up. And lately they've been using him to his strengths. Like, he goes out there and has good matches. He shows that he's more than just a high flying guy. But next, to kind of skim along, because there's a lot of skimmable moments on the show. Natalya versus Kiana James. Kiana James with her first match on the main roster. Kiana won, and no one really cared. I mean, I hate to be negative, but just again she's new, and I mean, she wasn't even that over in NXT. So I was really shocked when she got called up, because I was like, yeah, she's really not that over in NXT. And now she's on the main roster. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I like to be wrong. And then next you had Braun Strowman versus Carlito. Ended up being incomplete. The Judgment Day got involved, And they all beat the shit out of Braun, which good. I mean, I thought that was good because you can only make them look like bitches for so long.
Right.
Every now and then, JD needs to get his heat back. Carlito needs to get his heat back. The rest of the Judgment Day need to get their heat back. So they all just beat the shit out of Braun with a steel chair. Good.
As they should. They should. They, it's just common sense. Just gang up on the big giant. And yeah, the problem. And it's like Damon Priest was telling, Judgment Day and Carlito. I mean, I guess Carlito was part of Judgment Day, unofficially. He was telling them, take care of the problem, take care of it. And, finally it was like, hey, get together and just beat the shit out of him with a chair. Like, thank you. Hello. It's like, come on now. But, yeah, just, they were getting beat and made to look like fools. So at least they got their look back against Strowman.
Right. And then afterwards, Liv Morgan came out and saved Dom from getting attacked by Braun. And again, Dom showing a lot of restraint. And Finn, of course, coming into cock block.
Yeah.
Which is funny because he posted on Twitter a emoji of a rooster and a blocking symbol. So it's kind of funny. Next is you had Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark versus Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill for the Women's Tag Team Championships, which ended in DQ after Isla Dawn and Alba Fire came out and attacked the champions. And in the back, they were saying, we want to be a part of Clash of the Castle, being as I believe they're both Scottish.
Yes.
So good. I mean, again, just going back to what I was saying, Triple H wanting to make use of a lot of people on this roster, and there's a lot of women on this roster too, and these two are a tag team. These two were the NXT, not NXT. Yeah, the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, the last ones, and then they lost them, and it's just like, okay, what have we done with them lately? So I like that they're being used. So let's see what they can do. Let's see. The New Day versus Authors of Pain. Karrion Kross doing his best Sean O'Hare impression.
Yes.
Doing the devil's advocate. Trying to get in Kofi's ear, trying to get in Xavier's ear, basically saying, you're too good. You're too good for this. You need to branch on your own. Yeah, again, I like Kross. I know you like Kross. So I like the fact that they're still continuing with Kross. It's just like, let's make him interesting again. He's I believe he's still filming a movie, which is why he hasn't done anything physical yet. Because movies, the whole thing about insurances and making sure the actors are well to film. So I get that, but he's still making appearances, doing like promos and shit. So Authors of Pain ended up winning the match, and wait, what? Shockingly, this ended up being upset squash. Distracted by Kross. Oh yeah, AOP did win the match, and afterwards you see Xavier, stare at Kofi almost like like he's pissed off. He should have won. So I don't know. I was gonna say hope this leads to maybe like Biggie coming back to kind of like be the glue for New Day, but I've read something about him saying that he's trying to get stem cell therapy, or I don't know how the correct terminology is, but
yes, stem cell therapy, yeah. But
I don't know. I hope Big E does come back to wrestle. I mean, and selfishly, I would love for him to come back to wrestle. If not, just he still has a place as like an announcer or commentator.
Yeah, him and CM Punk. Yeah, the good combo. Like they'll make a perfect commentary team after those two are done wrestling. Yeah,
that's like the ultimate odd couple. That sounds like a sitcom.
Yeah, I will watch it. Hell yeah, I'll watch it.
Punk and E. I would love that. Right. So the main event of the show ended up being Rey Mysterio versus Damian Priest. Decent television match. What I didn't like about it was the fact that Damian needed a distraction to beat Rey Mysterio. And again, I like Rey. I love Rey just like everyone else does, but at this point, Rey is the guy that needs to be putting over the other guy. And Damian, as much as I love Damian has not, his title reign has been very ice cold. I mean, I don't want to say ice cold. I mean, Trick Williams has been ice cold. Jesus. But, Damian has been very as far as the title reign goes. Like, he has not been presented since night one as, the world champion. He has not been presented as somebody who's on the same length as Cody, at least. And, this is a match where he should have just dominated. He should have just beat the ever-living dog shit out of Rey to really prove himself, to the Judgment Day and everybody in the locker room and also the fans. But they decided to make this match 50-50, which I hated. I didn't like it. And then he needed a distraction to beat Rey, which I'm like, oh, God. After which, Drew came out to take out Damian, but then the rest of the Judgment Day took out Drew, with Drew doing a South of Heaven chokeslam onto the table, and the show ends with Judgment Day standing over Drew. So, I mean, good. They're still promoting the match. Damian at least got a little bit of his heat back by taking out Drew. I mean, he didn't just get bitched out, but yeah, overall, not really so much about the match, but just how do you feel about Damian's title run so far?
I mean, they'll on him first and foremost. He had his moment at Mania. That being said, just not much. Like we all know that he's gonna drop the belt. It's just there's no way that Drew McIntyre is going to lose at Clash at the Castle. It's no way. But just overall, like his title reign, it's just been lackluster. It's just been lackluster. But again, it's because we know he's going to drop the strap eventually, and it's no fault to him. But I think once he sheds Judgment Day, that's when you'll see Damian Priest, because I think he's just above the group, in all honesty, and that's like what's weighing him down. And it's like it kind of muddied, in my opinion, his his title reign. While him being world champion and being with Judgment Day, just still like that dude is huge. Like he just for him to still need help beating Rey Mysterio on Monday night, nah. That's just doesn't make any sense. Like he should be just mopping the floor with Rey. So yeah, that aspect that I have issue with as well. But yeah, he's just keeping the belt, warm for Drew, because he's gonna get his win back. He's gonna get his win back, and then we're gonna have that Summer of Drew, DM Hunk. And then, Punk will come in. And yeah, it's just, it's sad because I like Damian Priest, especially, his story, how he came from being homeless to being, world champion. But it's like, it's just, I'm proud of him. I'm proud of him. Fellow Puerto Rican, I'm proud of him, but just, gotta look at reality. But I mean, I think down the line he'll get another title run, maybe like a year or so. Like he'll be fine. But just this title reign hasn't been the best for him.
No. And that was Raw. Did you watch NXT at all?
I saw that Mia Yim clip.
Okay. That was kind of funny. But I'll kind of do a run through of NXT real quick. So last week, some big surprises on NXT. So it was announced who Roxanne Betta's opponent was going to be at Battleground, and it was none other than the current TNA Knockouts champion Jordan Grace. So the forbidden door is open with WWE and now TNA.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jordan Grace came out just like she made a surprise appearance at the Rumble this year, which she did pretty well. I'll give her credit. I haven't always been the biggest Jordan Grace fan. Now I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm a huge fan of her now, but I appreciate her in ring work, and she's kind of toned down a lot of that online persona of virtue signaling and blah blah blah. She's just finally realized, I'm just gonna shut the fuck up and wrestle. And Justin, our good friend Justin, actually met her at a indie show here in town not too long ago. Said she was actually pretty cool. Like, she was very down to earth and nice and sweet. So I guess that's good. That's obviously good. So she came out. So she's going to wrestle Roxanne Perez at Battleground this Sunday, actually. And she was filming another segment with Ava Raine, who's the GM of NXT, and a wrestler by the name of Stevie Turner challenged her to a match. I have no idea who Stevie Turner is. I'll just be honest. I don't know who she is. I haven't seen her on the show.
Yeah.
But she challenged her to a match to open NXT last night. And it was a pretty good showing. Not just for Grace, but for Miss Turner. And pretty much the match was just built as a way to get Jordan over, which she didn't really need that, but I guess to get her over with the WWE crowd who's not familiar with TNA. And she looked great out there. And Roxanne was on commentary. Afterwards, she came out and confronted Jordan by shoving her, and then Jordan shoves her back, and it's about to put her in her finishing move, and then Roxanne gets out and takes her title back. So nice way to hype up the match. Nice way to hype up Miss Grace. I believe the segment you're talking about was Mia Yim, or Michin, whatever you want to call her, seeing Jordan Grace, because they're both very good friends, back in the TNA days. What the fuck's her name? Sol Ruka, she joins in, telling Grace, I'm your biggest fan, and then Grace saying, I'm a big fan of yours. And then Jada Parker comes in and it's like, stop all this ass kissing. And Mia Yim's is like, you better get on my face, and Grace telling Mia Yim, you need to handle that. He's like, I will. I'll take care of her ass in the ladder match. Ariana Grace comes out and talks to Jordan Grace, and tells her we have the same last name, but we're not related. And Jordan's like, yeah, really?
Who'd have thought?
Tatum Paxley comes out and is idolizing Jordan Grace's belt, because she has a thing for belts, for championship belts, and she's like, I need that belt. And Jordan's just like, I'm gonna walk away right now. So I don't know. I like, as soon as I saw Ariana Grace, I'm like, is Santino gonna come out? Like, that would have been funny.
Cool.
That would have been pretty cool. That would have been funny as shit. And like, Santino is like talking to Ariana, and like Santino was like, where's your father? Just doing stuff like that. That would have been comedy gold. But Jordan Grace, nice little showing. She did good. And I mean the NXT crowd is, it's the NXT crowd. We kind of expect them to react to anything, but they seem to react pretty good to Jordan. Also, they're in Florida, and is TNA, is Impact still in Florida?
I think they're in. I don't think they're in Florida. I'm not sure, because I know they do a lot of shows in like in Canada. Not sure about that.
Right. But all right, I think there are. I don't know if they went back to Nashville, but anyways.
Yeah.
Rest of the show, you had a women's North American title ladder match summit, which ended in a pull apart, which would eventually lead to a 6-women ladder match. They hyped up Shayna Baszler and Lola Vice's Battleground match, or Underground match at Battleground. So that was a nice little promo to really get over Lola, who obviously they love them some Lola. We all love ourselves some Lola.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's like she said, I can kick ass and look good doing it, and you certainly do. It's funny because Betty saw that vignette, and she looked at me and goes, "Now I know why you like NXT." I'm just like, but they're talented too. She's like, mm-hmm. Which they are very talented. Next is Thea Hale versus Jasmine Nix. Jasmine Nix wins by a distraction. And then some more mutiny going on with Chase U. Sean Spears lays out Josh Briggs, and then Javon Evans makes the save, makes them pay. So I'm assuming that's going to be a match added to Battleground, or maybe not. Kind of hope so, because Javon Evans, I think, is good. For a guy that's 20 years old. The crowd seems to like him. He's very talented. He does the moves well. Maybe I'm being too hard on the kid. Seems we're calling him kid, but maybe I'm being too hard on him. But it's just like, okay, in the next few years, I would like to see you maybe put some more muscle on and do less spots. But
yeah,
no, that's just I guess the CM Punk in me. All right, so what happened next? Heritage Cup, Tony D'Angelo versus Damon Kemp. I did not care about this match. I don't care about the Heritage Cup, and I don't care about Damon Kemp. So I'm going to move on. Natalia with Carmen Petrovich versus Izzy Dame. Natalia got the win, so cool. All right, and then what happened next? Gallus came out and to pretty much hype up the triple threat with Joe Coffey, Obafemi, and Wes Lee. Gallus or Joe Coffey pretty much just saying, "You guys don't care about us. Would you care about us if?" And pretty much just naming people that are over in NXT, like Lola Vice. You know, saying, "Would you care if I shook my ass instead of wrestling?" And blah blah blah. Obafemi comes out to talk shit. And then Wes Lee comes out to kind of even the odds. Lee and Obafemi get taken out, the Lee part didn't bother me. The Obafemi part bothered me because Obafemi should be out there laying everyone out. I mean, granted, it's 3-on-1, so I guess. But the fact that Joe Coffey clothesline Obafemi, I'm just like, no, no, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Like if it's like a thing of like both guys are holding him and then he's, even if that's still, I don't like that personally. And also methinks with this TNA crossover that Lee might be getting some help. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Yep.
From some old friends.
Yes, indeed.
Anyone can think what they will of that. All right. And then what happened next? A 6-woman tag match with all 6 women in the ladder match. Lash Legend, Fallon Henley, Kalani Jordan versus Sol Ruka, Michin, and Jada Parker. This was a match. It was fun. It was fun for what it was. It just basically to hype up the match this Saturday. Afterwards, Sol Ruka posing with the NXT Women's North American title. So that was a pretty cool. Shot. Jada Parker, really working physical in this match. Like, she's someone that I like, not just aesthetically, but I like, her in-ring work. I like the fact that for someone who, and anyone can correct me in the chat if I'm wrong about this. I don't know much about her history. I don't know if she's ever been in the indies before. I know she said she used to work at another, like an actual job, like a 9-to-5 job. And she literally said she got like a DM on Instagram from WWE saying, "Hey, you want to come try out?" and blah, blah, blah. And she thought it was fake and she found out it was real. Yeah. But for somebody that, as far as I know, doesn't really have any formal wrestling training, never was in the indies, she's someone that's really good. And she gets it. And she has the personality to back it up. So I like her. I want to see what she can do in the future. Yeah. So I like that she's getting that push. And then people, of course, loving Sol Ruka. So cool. JC Jane. JC Jane made a little comeback, wearing a mask to cover up her broken nose. So anyone that knows me I love me some Lacey. I can't talk today. JC Jane. So I'm glad to see her back in some capacity.
Maybe she'll take up Cody Rhodes' undashing gimmick. Maybe
that'd be pretty cool. But
I'd love to see that.
But she's perfect for me. She'll always be perfect to me. And then finally, the show ends with Ethan Page making his. He made his debut last week, which I'll brush over that. Quickly. So last week on NXT, at the end of the main event, which was a tag match, it was Trick Williams and Javon Evans against blanking on the other two names. Sexy Red, the rapper, came out to hype up the show. She came out with Trick Williams, and Trick loves him some Sexy Red.
Yep.
Oh my God, what's the tall girl's name? I forget. The one that Trick Williams is dating.
Lash Legend.
Lash Legend. She came out. She's like, "What's going on here?" Blah blah blah. The lights go out. They come back on. And you see Lash just kind of stare behind Trick, like, "What the hell?" And somebody attacks Trick, beats the shit out of him. He comes up, and it's Ethan Page, and
yep.
You hear Vic Joseph go, "Wasn't he in AE?" And you see Booker T. No. No AEW references on here. And he stares in the camera saying, "Whoop that Trick, I'm about to." And then he just knees Trick right in the face. So now all ego Ethan Page. Which again I was surprised. Like usually you hear about these things. Like nobody heard about Jordan Grace showing up on NXT. Nobody heard about Ethan Page, possibly signing with WWE. I mean, because I actually forgot that he left AEW.
Yeah.
And I didn't hear from anybody that said he was even considering coming to WWE. So, I'm happy because I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend I'm a big fan of Ethan Page, but he's a guy that he has a good look to him. He can talk and he can work. He's, mid-level, babyface. He's your mid-level guy. He's the guy that can, glass ceiling wise, be your, work for the Intercontinental or U.S. title. I think he's a perfect fit for NXT. They need good people on the show, especially since they're going to be heading to CW in October. So, yeah, I mean, I'm glad Ethan Page is here. So he signs his contract, and apparently there's some clauses in his contract that Ava just cannot approve of. And Trick telling Ava, sign him, give him whatever he wants. And Ava telling Trick, his clauses are, once he signs with the NXT, he wants a championship match against you at Battleground. And then Ethan was like, and the second clause is it's the end of the whoop that Trick era. So the show ends with them just, facing off. Ethan cutting a pretty good promo, like, there's people in the audience talking, we want Trick. And then Ethan just going, "Hey, shut the hell up." So I thought that was kind of funny. He made a comment, which I don't know if it was directed at AEW or someone said Brian Cage, which I'm just like, I don't know how you put those two together, but where he was like, I could have just easily sat on my ass at home for 2 years and collected a paycheck, but I'm better than that. So someone said
Brian Cage did, like, he was just sitting at home, just collecting, his paychecks and wasn't being used, and then complaining about not being used, and then he just ended up re-signing with AEW anyway. So it's like, right. What are you doing? What are you talking about? So yeah, that was definitely a AEW reference and a Brian Cage reference. And he's another one just wasting away over there, But anyway,
yeah. But that was NXT. So let's do predictions for Battleground this Saturday. You up for that?
Sure. I want to say one thing about the TNA,
Go for it.
like the working relationship that they're doing. You know, this Forbidden Door-esque venture they got going on here. I think it's a perfect fit for NXT and TNA, and there's just so much crossover opportunity. This is definitely a W for both companies, and we had a little taste of that at the Rumble this year, and I'm glad Jordan Grace is back. And then you never know. We're gonna get into the predictions, but they definitely had to like make this feel like a big deal, because with a lot of these these Forbidden Door type of shows, these crossover shows, a lot of times champ versus champion, nothing happens, nothing shocking happens, I should say. Let me rephrase that. Nothing shocking happens. I think something needs to happen for this, crossover to like mean like, much of something. So I think that it's a good step in the right direction, and never know, maybe WWE may turn TNA into like a sort of a feeder system, and just conspiracy theory hat time.
Right.
Really quick, I do think that some of the talent that were fired from WWE, ended up going to TNA, working for TNA, and then like the long term, like the 4D chess play was for slowly WWE, NXT to work with other, with other promotions slowly, not just from 0 to 100 in one shot. But that's just my theory. Could be wrong, but I think this is a good step in the right direction.
Well, it's funny you say that about you said TNA could maybe be like a feeder system for NXT. Like, Justin said the exact same thing. Like when I was at the shop earlier, we were talking about it, and he had mentioned that things WWE could possibly buy TNA, and TNA can maybe be like NXT's NXT.
Yeah.
Where like, if I don't have anything to do for this person, I'm going to send him to TNA. Let's see what he can do. Or I was saying it could be like, not let's say like a handshake agreement, but just it could be a thing of like that, NXT, TNA being NXT's NXT essentially, but like it could be a thing of WWE's like, hey, can we have Moose for the weekend? Or can we have Jordan Grace come by and do this show, or blah blah blah. So I'm happy for it, because we haven't seen a WWE do a business partnership like this in a while. The last one being ECW, where granted, all ECW got in return was Jerry Lawler and Jim Cornette, but they got to appear on Raw. You get to see RVD and the Dudleys and Sabu appear on an episode of Raw and have matches. So that was pretty good for ECW. So I'm happy with this business relationship. I know Shawn Michaels, he did an interview where he admitted he was jealous that the main roster, Royal Rumble got to have Jordan Grace, because he's like, because he said straight up, like, I'm a Jordan Grace fan, like I wanted to have her on the show in some capacity. Yeah. And there was a funny picture that Jordan Grace just put up with Shawn Michaels, where she actually bought him a chef's hat that said Chef Michaels.
Yeah.
And it's great. It's good shit. And she said that Moose had told her straight up, I'm jealous that you're on NXT. I want to be on NXT, like, so bad.
Yeah.
So who knows? Anything could happen. Joe Hendry could show up.
That would be dope. Yeah, I would love to see that.
People love that song. As soon as that song hits, people are going to go nuts. Rosemary could show up. I'm digging deep. Mustafa Ali is pushing for, people to show up on Impact.
Yeah.
Just so it'd be good. Maurice, just say his name. All you have to do is say his name. Say his name and he appears.
Yes, indeed.
Do you believe in Joe Hendry, Ruben?
Oh, I do.
Clap, clap.
Absolutely. Yeah, I do. Absolutely.
But you never know what could happen. Maybe more appearances could happen this Saturday for NXT Battleground, live from the UFC Apex Arena in Vegas. June the 9th. It will be at 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So far there's 6 matches. So I don't know if there's going to be an extra match announced. More than likely not. So let's start with the ladder match for the inaugural NXT Women's North American Championship. Sol Ruka, Lash Legend, Fallon Henley, Jada Parker, Michin, and Kalani Jordan.
Oof. Damn, that was a hard choice because there's I think with this, these 6 women, you can give a case for why all 6 of them should win. Me, I'm gonna go like my brain says Jada Parker. The brain, the head, the one
I get
my neck.
I get you.
The one connected to my neck.
I knew what you mean, Ruben. We have the same mind.
Yeah, that not the other head, but the one connected to my neck. My brain says Jada Parker, but my heart says Michin for just some reason. Just the fact that she's been on NXT, being used down there, and just the fact that she's in this ladder match, something tells me she could win. There's a slight chance. But then you look at Jada Parker, they're pushing her.
Oh yeah. And
then if she were to win, then her and Michin can have like a feud going afterwards. So I definitely think that Jada Parker could be the one to go over here and be that inaugural NXT Women's North American Champion.
My heart says, or my head.
Yeah.
And by my head, I mean my penis. No. I wouldn't be shocked if it was Jada Parker. I do like Jada. I just don't know if they want to give her that right away.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking Fallon Henley is going to win it because
that's not a bad choice. Yeah.
Right. Like they've been kind of making a point of her just coming out and saying like, I need success. I'm here to bet on myself. I'm not here to be in tag teams or to cater to people's feelings. I'm here to be a champion. So I think she's more than likely going to win it. Michin, I think she's just there because they need a veteran. They need a noticeable face. And lately she's just been looking hot as fuck. Like Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Like Keith Lee, how are you doing this? How?
Yeah.
Kalani Jordan, I like her, but she's not ready, and she needs to get better at promos.
Yeah.
Mello needs to give her some lessons.
Yes.
Sol Ruka, I really do like her. I think she's great. I just don't know if she's ready. Lash Legend, I've kind of turned the corner on her, but she's going to be the big girl in the match that does the power moves. I think that's going to be her purpose in the match. Did I forget anybody? No, I didn't. So yeah, I think Fallon's win this, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a good choice. Yeah, that's a good choice. Yeah, I'm still gonna stick with Jada Parker. Just
okay.
That feeling she can, they will give it to her. But yeah, Fallon, I like Fallon Henley. She's another one. Like all these women have impressed me in their own way. And yeah, Kalani Jordan, promo needs work, but she's good. Very good in the ring. Like she's gonna only get better, and hopefully her promo skills improve. They just gotta wait and see. But this match, I'm gonna be glued, oh so attentively, just because the bakery this opening match will essentially will have the bakery open. So I'm very excited.
And Booker T will be the avatar for Ruben.
Yeah.
Booker T's just horny. He's been very horny on commentating ever since. Like, if he sees Lola Vice, if he sees anyone else, he's like, "Oh yeah, man, yeah, shucky ducky, quack quack." and Vic is like, "Booker, aren't you married?" "Hey man, I'm just talking about the wrestling, man." I should stop. Next is you have a triple threat match for the NXT North American Championship for the men's. Oba Femi versus Wesley versus Joe Coffey. I don't know why Joe Coffey's in this match, but this should be a good match. You know, Oba works better with smaller opponents.
Yep.
A lot of this is just going to be Wesley and Joe Coffey teaming on Oba. And then the rest of Gallus is going to come out and even the odds. But Oba's still going to win. I don't know. I talked about there may hopefully being some more surprises. I don't know. It'd be pretty cool if the Rascals showed up and helped Wesley kind of even the odds and not necessarily win, but just take out Gallus. Maurice, you really think Coffey's going to win? I don't think so. But Oba wins and then he leaves because he's like, my business is done here, and then Gallus just beats the shit out of Wesley, and then the Rascals come out, and you have that emotional reunion with former Rascal Wesley. But what do you think? What are your thoughts?
I think Oba retains. He's been killing it as a North American champion, and I'm glad Wesley is back. Like, when I saw that he came back, I was like, yo, like he's been gone over like a year. It felt longer. And I was like, damn, I am so happy he's back. And Coffey, I've been a Joe Coffey fan since the days of certain wrestling promotion, What Culture Pro Wrestling. Back in the day, like, damn, I felt like another lifetime. But the Gallus boys, those guys are dope. They're definitely gonna play a part in that match, like you mentioned. But I definitely think Oba goes over just because I don't think he's dropping that belt for a long time. He's keeping that belt.
So next is you have the NXT Underground match. You have Shayna Baszler versus Lola Vice. Lola is winning. This is, they're in the NXT arena, or not NXT, they're in the UFC arena, and they're having a UFC match with two former MMA girls, or fighters, And, this is just a tool to get, Lola over. She won the last Underground match, now she's going to win this. It's good that Shayna's here in NXT. It's good that she's a part of this match. I'll say this about Lola, and this is going to sound shocking coming from me. So, the horny version of Drew is enjoying all the dancing that Lola does.
Yes.
But then the sensible wrestling adult fan of Drew is thinking, okay, eventually she needs to tone down the dancing because you don't want to be known as just, hey, I just shake my ass out there.
True.
I want to be known as just more than just the ass shaking girl that takes really hot pics on Instagram. That Drew likes all of my pics, but that's beside the point. I need to stop. But because Lola is good. Lola is good. She does need to get better in the ring, but with each showing, she is getting better in the ring. Maybe get a little better at promos because whenever she talks, like, again, I'm not making fun of her voice, but she kind of has that robotic, kind of monotone voice. She needs a little bit more inflection in her voice, a little bit more like personality in her voice.
Yeah.
You know, she just goes out there and she's like, I am Lola Vice, and I kick ass and I look good doing it. And I'm like, all right. I mean, granted, she's been in the wrestling business for a year, so she has another year to go. And I said the same thing about Tiffany Stratton. I said the same thing about Tony D'Angelo. I said the same thing about a few other people that when they first came to 2.0, I'm like, they're just generic robots. And look where they are. Look where they are now. Look where Tiffany's at right now. Look where Trick Williams is at right now. So I have faith that she can get better because she has good coaches down there. So, but yeah, what was I saying? Lola, she's gonna win.
Yeah, Lola's gonna win, obviously. And both heads agree.
Yes, sir. All right. NXT Women's Championship. Roxanne Perez, the champion, versus TNA Knockouts champion Jordynne Grace. This is interesting because one would think Roxanne's going to win. I mean, if she wins, it's going to be by heel tactics, more than likely. But I don't know. Like with this forbidden door, going on with NXT and TNA, I just don't see this as a one-off. And NXT, at the end of the day, it is, developmental. I mean, it's happened before where they'll bring in someone from the main roster and win a title, and they just use it as a catalyst to get the other person over. So, I don't know. That'd be pretty fucking nuts if Jordynne Grace won. And she takes the NXT Women's Championship back to fucking TNA. Like, that'd be pretty nuts. But, this is tough. This is pretty tough. Ooey. I don't know. I'm going to go with Roxanne, and she's going to win by fuckery.
I'm actually going to go with Jordynne Grace winning. Like,
right. Okay.
with this crossover that they have with, TNA and NXT, I think it will make a decent enough splash if Jordynne Grace, walks out as a double champion, and then Roxanne can go and go to Jordynne Grace's turf, and then win back the belt, or maybe win the TNA title, the TNA Knockouts title, and you can do that because not every reign needs to be a year plus, and sometimes in certain circumstances, hot potato the title, doing the hot potato dance with the title isn't bad, especially with this crossover that they have with these two companies, with these two brands. I think it will make sense for Jordynne Grace to walk out as NXT Women's Champ, and then at the next TNA pay-per-view, you can have Roxanne get her look back, and then you can make that into a story, and people will be glued in because Jordynne Grace, she's a double champion. Oh my god! And it's like you could just give Roxanne back the belt, and do with some fuckery like you mentioned. So it's like it won't hurt her, and I think she's like soon to be main roster bound. Like she's like,
oh yeah,
ready. So that will basically kill multiple birds with one stone, because you're helping the crossover. You're putting over NXT and TNA, and you have someone that could potentially be called up to the main roster if they have something for her to do. And then that could bring in other women from TNA to NXT and vice versa too. So that's definitely something, down the line. And yeah, TNA has a pay-per-view soon after Battleground, so they could definitely work that. TNA is doing promotion, they're talking about NXT on their programming too. So it's like, again, win-win. I wouldn't be shocked if Roxanne retain, but it will be cool if Jordan Grace were to win the belt here. Like, it'll be real. It'll make for a cool moment.
Yeah, I mean, anything could happen now that the door's open. You might. I mean, who knows? You might be seeing Gail Kim in NXT. You could be seeing, where we were talking about in the shop earlier that, what was his name? Brooks Jensen. Who was in the tag team with Josh Briggs. Like, he is a free agent, quote unquote. I mean, he's not really a free agent. He didn't get released, but like, he put up a video saying, maybe I'll go make an impact somewhere else. So I think they're going to send some of their like low level, I don't want to say low level, but like, I guess the talent that they're not really doing anything with to TNA to kind of like get some buzz over. You know what I mean? So, anything can happen. Next is you have the NXT Tag Team Championships, Nathan Frazier and Axiom versus the OC, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. Kind of don't care about this match personally, but I have a feeling that they're going to give it to the OC. I don't like it personally, but I'm going to say the OC wins it.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Axiom's dope. Like, that tag team with Nathan Frazier and Axiom is pretty cool. But I mean, if you have, the OC down there, you have, Gallows and Anderson down there, you can have them have, decent run with the tag belts. And I think that means that there'll be, like, they've been tag champs, like, all over. Like, I believe, like, all over. So I think they will get the tag straps just so they can add on to their, their accolades. But yeah, I'm going with the OC.
All right. And then the main event will be for the NXT Championship, a singles match, Trick Williams versus Ethan Page. Little surprised, but at the same time, not really surprised that this match just kind of got thrown together. I was thinking they were going to hold off on this match for the next pay-per-view to kind of give it more build-up. But, yeah, it's already happening. I don't know. I feel the same way about it that I feel about Jordan Grace wrestling Roxanne. That, I don't know. Like, and I just remembered something else. Julia, she'll be making her debut on NXT pretty soon, so I think more than likely Roxanne's going to win, and they're going to set up her and Julia. So, but yeah, this match, I don't know. Do you bring in Ethan Page on his debut match and have him lose? Or, I don't know. Like, again, they've done this with NXT before, where they'll bring in someone from the main roster and they'll have them go over their champion to kind of, I guess, build them up better. Because they did that with Braun, where they brought in Dolph Ziggler and had Dolph beat him for the NXT title, and they kind of continued that feud until Braun won it back and, I guess, learned better in-ring psychology. They did that with Becky recently, where they had her, be the NXT Women's Champion. So, I don't know. Again, I like Trick, but just Trick is kind of ice cold as far as a world champion goes. I don't know. It's one of those things that I don't know what's going to happen. And I have a feeling they're going to give it to Ethan Page. I don't know why, but I just have a feeling they want to give it to Ethan Page to kind of like do something big for Trick. Because I like Trick. He's good, but he's still very green. There's a lot of things he really needs to get down, like in-ring psychology and, have more crisp Irish whips into the ropes. So he needs something, because ever since he won that title, he's been very ice cold. So I'm going to go with Ethan winning.
Same. Yeah, you're not just going to bring in Ethan Page, have him lose, and Trick. He's going to be over regardless. Win or lose, he's still He's gonna have the fans backing him, and he has Lash Legend. Like again, like he's winning. Even in defeat, he wins, so it's like not a big deal. And I think Ethan Page will be a great face of of NXT. When he becomes champion, it fits, and also be like a little fu to AEW, because they didn't have him. Like, was Ethan Page like a champion
in AEW?
Yeah, like it'll be a big fuck you, because like you had a good talent over there, and Ethan Page, he's definitely in that mid-card, upper mid-card guy, even a contender to maybe like the world title. He's good. He has a look. He can talk. He can wrestle. So I definitely think that he will go over Trick, just to have that surprise. I think like out of any match, this match has that anything can happen factor, because it's so unpredictable. Anything can happen, but at least I think if I can get in the head of Shawn Michaels, you gotta just push, just move a Sexy Red aside and Lola Vice aside, and all the women on the roster gotta move aside and see the bigger picture that he has in his mind for this NXT title match. I think Ethan Page goes over. And then again, you can probably have Trick get the belt back, or who knows? Anything can happen, especially with this crossover, especially down the line. So maybe Ethan Page wins the NXT belt, and then you can have Josh Alexander have a match, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
You're thinking what I'm thinking. Like,
I am.
Like you can definitely get that match going. I definitely think so. Just little 4D chess, and so I definitely think that could happen for that reason. With the merger, with the crossover, the Forbidden Door. I think we can get Ethan Page versus Josh Alexander. Just sign me up. Sign me the heck up for that.
Or have Moose come out and confront Obafemi.
That too.
So again, just you never know what's going to happen this Sunday. It's going to be should be a pretty interesting card. But that's Battleground. As far as I know, me and Jeff are still on to do a Battleground post show. As I actually didn't mention this. So as you all know, all the Patreon shows I did with Mr. Ruben here, with RJ, and also Jeff, they are no longer behind a paywall. They are to the public. So me and Ruben shows Culture Attack is in the public. We just put out a fresh new episode. Listen to it. It's really good. There's also a YouTube channel, a TikTok account where Ruben here is actually putting up clips. Ruben making me look like a hack.
I gotta because now I work full time, so weekends is when I'm gonna focus on the content, because just come back from work, I just want to just chill, unwind. But the weekend, I'll definitely get on the TikTok and the YouTube and all that. But it's the seal has been broken, so all the shows that were on behind the paywall, they're free from the paywall. So definitely check out all those shows, and please check out Culture Attack. Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, TikTok. I'm trying to get an Instagram up. That's the other order of business I got to do. And just plug and play all the clips and put them on there. But just definitely definitely check out Culture Attack wherever you listen to your podcasts. If you aren't much for audio, you want to have video, or you just want to like listen to it on the go, you have so many options.
Yes, sir. And I'm digging it. I'm digging it. Good job, man. I'm proud of you for all the hard work you're putting in for the show. I really do appreciate it. But if anyone hasn't listened to Culture Attack, go listen to it right now. Our show isn't really a wrestling show; it's a pop culture-ish or esque show where we talk movies, TV shows, what's going on in the world. We're not a political show, so you don't have to worry about politics. We just, Ruben picks the topics, and we do our darndest to cover it in the most, in our most darndest way. Yeah. So, and then sometimes talk about wrestling. So, it's Culture Attack.
Sometimes, yeah.
And then do a show with RJ. It's called Revenge of the Savage Nerds. That's a show we do every other week. We just talk about the news that's going on with comic books, comic book movies, TV shows, what have you. We need to plan out the next show. And I'm going to put out another retro episode right after we get off here. And then Jeff Littman. So me and Jeff Littman did a show called Garden of Droom, where it was a take on his show Garden of Doom. And for the most part on that show, it would just be me picking topics for Jeff to talk about and to just for him basically just do his homework and come back on the next show and then just give like I guess his like college thesis or essay essentially, and just talk about what the topic is, and I'm just there to listen and ask questions. And I guess we decided to kind of change our show a little bit, and just for the time being do NXT post shows for the pay-per-views, which we actually used to do back in the day, because every NXT takeover we would always cover it. Even during like the COVID days, we would cover NXT takeover shows. So we're gonna do it this Sunday, God willing. Yep. But please go listen to the shows I just mentioned, and give us a like and a follow, and just tell us what you think. All right, so we're running a little short on time, so I just decided to axe the news topics that I had on hand. So let me I'll save one of the topics for our show for I believe this Sunday, right?
Yeah, this Sunday.
Okay, I'll save one of them for our show. So I'm just going to do ratings, and we'll call it a night. So I'm going to start back from May the 22nd, since we were off last week. AEW Dynamite from May the 22nd drew a 7.13 in the ratings and had a .24 in the demos. SmackDown from May the 24th that week was the same SmackDown in Saudi Arabia. That was a 2.147, and they had a .56 in the rating, or in the demo, I mean. AEW Rampage from May the 24th drew a 2.22 and drew a .08 in the demo. AEW Collision from May the 25th drew a 4.15 and a .15 in the demo. WWE Raw from May the 27th drew a 1.69 in the rating and a .55 in the demo. NXT from May 28th drew a 7.03 and a .24. AEW Dynamite from May the 29th last week drew a 7.87 and a .25. SmackDown from May 31st drew a 2.31 and a .65, so they were actually up. AEW Rampage drew a 2.55 and a .09. Collision drew a 3.78, so they were down that week, and a .11. WWE Raw from this past Monday drew a 1.679, so they were slightly down, and a .53 in the demo, so they were slightly down in both areas. NXT last night drew a 6.78 in the ratings and a .22 in the demo. Their highest rating since, let me just pull it up right here. Their highest rating since January the 2nd of this year which coincidentally they drew a 768 in the rating. So good on NXT for their go-home show for Battleground. But that's it. That's really everything we have at the moment. I want to thank Mr. Ruben Prime here for filling in for Justin on such short notice. Thank you, Ruben.
Sure. Yeah, no problem. Like, you threw up the bat signal and I answered. And yeah. I had fun, especially with, Battleground coming up. Wanted to talk some NXT because NXT has been putting out, they've been doing, they're making waves. So wanted to talk. And gotta help out. I gotta help out my boy when I can. So
I appreciate it.
Glad to hop on. Yeah, of course, man.
But so yeah, plugs. I will. I just discussed it not too long ago, but I'm going to say it again. Culture Attack, which is the show I do with Mr. Ruben here. Ruben is the guy. He is was it like Tony Stark said? He is the boss. He pays for everything and makes everything look cool.
I try to, at least.
You don't need to try too hard. You do a great job, man. But yeah, Culture Attack. Let me just kind of repeat myself. It's we just attack the culture of pop culture, of entertainment, movies, television shows. We'll talk about what's going on in the world, not politics. We don't talk politics, so you don't have to worry about that. We don't talk too much about wrestling, but every now and then we do if it's something of interest. So, but we just put out a new episode. It is no longer behind a paywall, and so we're going to be recording this Sunday. So look for that new episode to drop. So Culture Attack. And the other two shows I do, Revenge of the Savage Nerds with Mr. RJ, which we just put out a new episode, new for the public episode, like the first episode for the public. I did put out an older episode, for weeks whenever we're not doing shows, and I'm about to do another one again. So listen to that. And then me and Jeff Littman, I'm not sure if it's going to be called Garden of Droom anymore or whatever it's going to be called, but it's for the time being we're going to be reviewing the NXT pay-per-views for the post shows like we used to back in the day. So look for that to drop, God willing. And then just shout outs to everybody that does support us. Shout out to Mish from Wrestling Soup, who gave us the platform to do the show. And Joe Numbers, of course, John Draper and the boys over there at Spitball Media, B-Show Brian Shaheen, who's done artwork for this show. Nuclear Heat Graphics. I'm not sure if he still does artwork. I'm not 100% sure, but Nuclear Heat Graphics, hit him up if you need some artwork done. Yuck Nasty, who's done, music for this show. I'm not entirely too sure of how to get a hold of him anymore. I believe by email. I'm not sure. Everybody else, of course, like Mr. Ruben here. RJ, Jeff Littman, Brother Monty. Let's see. And then just pretty much, if I'm forgetting names, I apologize. But pretty much everybody that supports us, anyone that has a podcast that's out there grinding, support them. Support all of our friends. And social media tags, Twitter, X, DY Experience. I have an Instagram account, but that's more of a personal account. And then a YouTube channel. For some reason, my Facebook page is getting closed down. I have no idea why. Something about I was using copyrighted material, which I wasn't. But I don't fucking know. I barely use that thing anyway. But I was just like, that's weird. And yeah, just do all that shit. Ruben, tell them about you.
Interesting. Me, well, like we mentioned earlier, Culture Attack. Say 3 times and you'll get an episode every Sunday. Knock on wood, of course. Again, talk about pop culture, film, media, TV shows, and sprinkle in a little bit of wrestling, and just, our takes on the news that, I cover. Just, give topics for me and Drew to discuss. And I'm still building the bakery. That's like one of the segments that I want to have on the show. I want the show to be more interactive down the line. We talk about the NXT women and just the women of wrestling in general. Talk about the bakery, just their assets, and we talk about that. And just want to turn into a fun little segment like that and bring in some of the stuff that we've talked about in the earlier edition of the show, which was Worst for the Worst, and try to bring those ideas, what's old is new again, and just trying to have fun with the show. And yeah, just stay tuned for what we have and what we'll bring to the table down the line with Culture Attack. And of course, I have Twitter, I have an X, Mr. Ruben Prime. If you want to follow me on there, please do. Love the banter, the chat, and all that. And again, Culture Attack on YouTube, Culture Attack on Spotify, Apple, and TikTok and Instagram coming soon. But definitely for anything show related, definitely follow me on Mr. Ruben Prime. And yeah. And I did a X-Men 97 special with friends of mine at their podcast. It's called The King's Council. I gotta ask when they'll upload the episode because it's not up yet. So I gotta inquire about that. But definitely check out my friends at the King's Council, the Kang's Council. Excuse me. They'll give me lashings if I say it wrong. But definitely check them out. Good friends of mine. They talk more about gaming, what's going on in the gaming industry. So if that's more your bag, definitely check out the Kang's Council on Spotify, Apple, Google, just all over. Check them out. Tell them Ruben Prime sent you. And yeah, I'm gonna try and do more collabs, as break the seal, do a little more stuff. And yeah, more shows as well on Culture Attack with Drew. Just a lot of content we got. So, pick your poison. Definitely pick your poison with, mass amounts of content that we have to offer to you guys.
Yes, sir. You heard him. All right. We're done. And we're going to call it a night. And hopefully we see you on Sunday if we're still doing a show. And ask Jeff about it. And as for the rest of you, we will be seeing you next week, same time, same place. And yeah, that's about it, peeps. Laters. Peace out.
Peace.
The Drew Yari Show.
It's Drew Yari. It's Drew Yari.
The Drew Yari Show.
It's Drew Yari. It's Drew Yari.
The Drew Yari Show.
It's Drew Yari.
The Drew Yari Show.
It's Drew Yari.
The Drew Yari Show.